She grew up in Hollywood and has extensive experience in front of and behind the camera, acting and producing for television, feature films, and the stage. She's been a professional ice skater since 8 and currently in the Guinness Book, a sports record book for most revolutions per second in a spin. Her professional skating career has spanned decades and has included TV commercials, TV shows, tank shows on ice, as well as cruise ships, arena stadium shows, and exhibitions from Los Angeles to Madison Square Garden in New York. She was a professional ice skater when there was a difference between amateur and pro, and got the acting bug when she got her first commercial at 8 years old, which was skating and acting. She has also taught ice skating and has served as a guidance counselor for several private schools in the Los Angeles area. She is involved with many charitable organizations, especially the Special Olympics, and has worked with the California Special Olympics for most of her life. After college, she pursued acting with the same enthusiasm as skating and felt the discipline as a professional athlete carried over to her acting in other areas of life. She has appeared in feature films like Robin Hood, Men in Tights, Dracula, Dead and Loving It, and The To-Do List. Ladies and gentlemen, Elaine Ballace.
Okay, wait, I'm walking in like on the Johnny Carson show.
Let's do it. There you go. Let's have a nice hand for it. How are you? Just pretend there's a desk.
Right, I just jumped over the
Get your
bell.
mic. Here.
Okay.
How are you?
I'm great, and it's so much cooler in here than outside.
Oh, bad. So let's talk about your life. The ice skating thing. How'd that all happen?
Oh, well, that's really interesting. It seems like my whole life has kind of been falling into. My sister, I have an older sister, and she was very badly knock-kneed. And a doctor at that time, rather than saying, let's do surgery, he said, try ice skating. I don't know why, but he did. And so I used to go with my mom while she would take her ice skating, and just as a little baby, kept saying, I want to do it, I want to do it, I want to do it. And then so finally they gave in and let me go on the ice, and I just stayed there.
She became a champion.
Well, I turned pro when I was 8, and back in the day there was a big difference in that you couldn't compete if you were making money. Now it's all about the money. And so it was fun. I mean, my parents never really wanted me, I don't think, to be in show business even, let alone, as a skater or touring or anything. And different shows wanted me to go out on the road with them, the majors, but my dad didn't think it was right because he felt that my sister was entitled to a mother as much as, I was, and a mother and a father. So I didn't do that, and they said, well, maybe when you get out of high school or college, you can, if you want to pursue it, go ahead. But by then I was pretty well based in Los Angeles, and I was born here, so I grew up, I was born at Queen of Angels Hospital. It's gone. Then I went to Hollywood Professional School. It's now gone. Then I went to USC. Their football program's gone, just about. So, and then I went to MIT, where they have no football programs. So it's okay. But I don't know, it's just something I always wanted. But I think about last week when you had Rick Lertzman and talking about Mickey Rooney. And I think I've always known my whole life I wanted to be in show business. And I recall 4 years old, I look at pictures, I don't recall what we did, but I see the pictures and I do remember doing it, is that everybody had to be in a show. Anytime we had a family get together, it was a show, Here, we'll get costumes, and we'll put on a show, and I was producing it for, So it's something I always wanted to do. And then just by being in skating, I loved skating, and I loved the discipline. And the thing about...
Well, there's also like an art to skating. It's very, very dramatic as well. So it's in many ways it's similar to performing on stage.
It is. And the thing about skating, which I learned, is you can either do it or you can't. You can't really...
I can't, by the way.
Well, you probably could. But you either can skate or you can't. And so I guess as long as I could skate, I wanted to skate because there were really no take-twos. And I carried that through, and I just felt one day I would like to be able to get into acting the way I was with skating, because I had the discipline. I knew what would work. I knew all the tricks, and once you get your first standing ovation, you want it forever. It is like the biggest addiction ever. And I always wanted to get my acting at the same level as my skating, and so I worked just as hard at acting and the timing and going to classes. The difference, I think, though, is usually with acting is that you need someone to act with or for. Whereas skating, you can just go to the rink and practice. I mean, you have to take lessons, of course, to improve and see, you know, what you're doing or what you're doing wrong. But you can go and you can skate, and it's between you and the ice, you know. And if anything goes wrong, it's always the ice's fault. Then it's the equipment's fault. It's never your fault, you know. It's always something else. So that was a totally different experience, whereas in acting, you were kind of reliant on someone else. Which reminds me of a funny story. I did a show called The Nut House, and it was with Alan Spencer and Mel Brooks. And so anyway, the scene was with Harvey Korman and someone else, and the director just wanted to be certain that everything was good, and so he said, okay, well, we're gonna, you know, run the scene now. I said, okay, I'm ready, let's shoot it. He goes, Elaine, what's missing? I go, I don't know, I'm here, the props are here, what's missing? He goes, the other actors. I go, they'll just get in the way, let's shoot it. They'll just get in the way, let's shoot it. You know, I'm used to doing a solo, it's okay. He goes, no. So it was really funny, but I worked with Harvey Korman twice. I worked with that show.
From the Carol Burnett show.
Right, and also he was in Dracula Dead and Loving It.
Sure.
And the funniest thing was, because he knew that I was really good friends with Mel, and he said, he comes on the set, and I introduced myself, and I said hi, and I don't know how everybody in the world knew it, but somehow they did. And so I get on the set, and he goes, all right, everybody, you have to be on your best behavior and do a good job today. She's a spy for Mel Brooks. So I called Mel and go, Mel, did you call them?
Now, what year was that?
I don't even remember. And the show was only on for a hot minute, literally. And it was really a funny show, but it didn't last long. But it was fun.
So this was after the Carol Burnett show?
It was in the 90s.
Oh, in the 90s.
Yeah. And so, but I don't remember which year in the 90s. And then I saw him again on Dracula Dead and Loving It. And I said, okay, now Mel's here, so you have to be on good behavior.
And Harvey was one of Mel's favorites, right?
Well, he was in Blazing Saddles, too, so he really liked him a lot. And it's even funnier because when I did Spaceballs, Mel said to me, kept prepping me and saying, Elaine, now let's not talk about the skating. Let's not talk about the skating. You're here to act. You're here to act. And I said, okay. First words out of his mouth to everyone was, you should see her. She's such a great skater. And I go, but Mel, we're talking about acting now. He goes, you talk about acting. I can talk about whatever I want. It's my set.
There you go. There you go.
So that was, yeah.
Well, tell me about the charities, you know, and how you got involved with that, and why you chose to bring that into your life.
Well, actually, it was through skating. A friend of mine had called me up, and she goes, Elaine, meet me at the rink. You're going to do Special Olympics. And I go, what's Special Olympics? I didn't even know at the time. I mean, it was so many moons ago. And so she said, oh, just meet me at the rink. You'll find out. And I went, oh, okay. So I met her at the rink. And it was really funny because it wasn't even the winter Special Olympics. It was summer Special Olympics. But I guess they were hoping to do something with, at that time they had plastic surfaces for ice. And I was one of the few people at that time who was able to skate on it. So somehow I guess it didn't work out, and they invited me to the opening ceremonies anyway and said, you're welcome to come, you know, for the weekend. So I did, and someone said, well, if you get through the first weekend, you'll be here forever. And so I was there until I saw the changes, and it's become, unfortunately now, like some charities, so I'm not really involved with Special Olympics anymore. I mean, I support the athletes, but it's become too corporate. Whereas before, it was all about the athletes, and it was all about celebrities and anybody who wanted to come out. I mean, you didn't even have to be a major star or anything. Just come out and support the athletes. And that all
Well,
changed.
do you feel that, I mean, that everybody in the public eye, whether it's film, TV, music, or publishing, whatever, do you think that everyone in the public eye should maybe use their presence in the best possible way in some fashion to make some kind of contribution to the community, or not? You don't have to. Really,
I don't.
But what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think most people genuinely want to give back. I think, unfortunately, the way life has become, they're not able to give back because certain people want to do things, but then, well, you're not an A celebrity, or you're not this, or you're not that, or we only want this. So I think it's much harder for people, so I don't judge anybody whether they do or they don't, because maybe they tried and they were turned down. So I just think that you have to follow your heart, and if somebody wants you to do something and it's a cause you believe in, then I think you should do it. As a matter of fact, not to get political, but last year, on behalf of my mom, I live in Santa Clarita, the other side of God, would give anything to leave. I really fought the city council because people who live in mobile homes, they own the home, but they don't own the land. And so the landowners were raising the rents at a minimum of 3% because they could. The CPI, which is what they use to consumer index, the consumer product indexer. So what they would do is, it was like at 1%, 1.2, 1.4. So I really fought with City Hall for almost a year to say it shouldn't be raised more. There are many people who live in these homes because they are on fixed incomes. And that wasn't truly revealed to them, that the rents could go up and at exorbitant rates every year. I mean, it was at a minimum of 3%, and now affordable housing, rent controls, everything is becoming a hot issue again. So I do feel kind of proud that I was able to really fight, because they had been working on it for, I think, I don't know, somewhere like 5 to 10 years prior to me being there, and I went relentlessly. It was like they would look at me like, oh no, she's here again.
And do you think that your public persona, or at least your experience in the industry, helped that along?
No, I think maybe it helped me be more persuasive in talking to them.
Personally, from a personal standpoint.
But I don't think it had any effect upon them. I think my relentlessness is what did it, and I just wouldn't back down. And so now I call one of the city manager, and I go, so is my bestie in?
There you go.
You know, and but I just wouldn't back down. And I mean, there were other people who had been working on it, but for 10 months, 11 months, I mean, I just was there every time they had a meeting and just said, you know, you've got to do the right thing. If you don't do the right thing, get out. Let's get someone who can. So I think, if nothing else, I like fighting for causes that I feel that people aren't heard.
The underdog.
Yeah, you know, when their voices aren't really heard, I think that those are the causes I like the best.
That's very sweet. What is it that Mel saw in you, Mel Brooks, that you think he saw in you, or that you brought that's something special to whatever his...
The relentlessness.
Again, with the relentlessness.
I was like, you're gonna use me. Actually, I had known him. I didn't realize that. I believe he saw me in a skating show at the Beverly Hilton. I think it was for the Friars Club. And so he knew who I was, but I was just so excited because I had just seen, you know, Blazing Saddles. Like, yeah, my favorite film. And he's going, you're too young. How did you even get in, you know? And then he saw me on another show, which I was a guidance counselor at the school at the time. It was a private school. It was at HPS, actually. And this kid was, one of the students there was doing a show, and at the time it was on public access. Well, public access on the west side was the place to be. I mean, more people watched that than, regular television, and it was on late at night. And so he goes, please, 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 you have to be this character. And I go, okay. And I had no idea what it was. There was no script or anything, so it was like, okay, I can do this, no worries. So I show up, I do the character. Everybody saw it. It was hysterical, including Mel. And Mel goes, you are really funny. And so I said, oh, thank you. And now I just, every time he says, oh, you're funny, or you did this, you did that, I say, oh, Mel, it's all your words or your way of being. I just sort of change it to fit me, And he goes, good for you.
And his wife, of course, Anne Bancroft. They had one of the great love affairs of Hollywood, yes. And they were so different. That was, at least to the public eye. There was this comedian, and she was a serious actress.
No, actually, it was the other way around.
Oh, there you go.
In person, she was the funny one, and he was the serious one. So, no, and she was as beautiful in person as, you ever saw her on the screen. And
we're talking about Mrs. Robinson from
right.
The Graduate.
Yes, and so she was just an amazing woman. And their son, Max, is a perfect morph of both of them. You kind of look at him and you go, is that Mel or Ann? And he's just the sweetest person in the world, too. And he's married and has a son. So
I'm sure Mel misses her still, right?
Absolutely.
And how long has she been gone now?
That's what I was trying to figure out. I think it's
about 10 years.
10 years, 10 or 12 years, something like that.
Summer 05, I think it was.
05, yeah, so 10 years. But, no, there isn't. Every time, there's any special of Mel's and Anne is shown in any of the clips, he just always tears up. So, no, he still just absolutely loves and adores her.
So, is there, you think he will fall in love again, or?
I think he's so busy. I think part of it is he stays busy because he doesn't have Anne anymore, and part of it he just stays busy, and you would never guess that he's 89 years old. Never guess. He is just more energetic and healthier than any of us.
Like George Burns.
So where do you see your career going, and where do you want it to go? Or?
Well, of course you want to work. Any actor, I think, wants to work every single day, and just be at the top of your career. But it's not even so much for the fame, or it isn't really for the money. It's just to be working and doing what you love doing.
Right. To have a purpose, to get up, to go somewhere, to have somewhere to go with.
And have a reason to get up in the morning. And I keep telling Mel to do another movie. I go, Mel, you got to do another movie. And he goes, oh, Elaine, I just can't get up anymore. He goes, I don't want to get up early. But he's never wanted to get up early. Going back to your show of shows, Carl Reiner used to have to bribe him with,
it was a
bagels
1950s
and cream
TV show, yeah.
Bagels and cream cheese. Come on, Mel, you've got to come. And he'd still show up late. And at the very beginning, it was Sid Caesar. He was hired just to work for Sid. And the producer goes, oh, no, and he won't get here early or anything like that. And Mel still wouldn't get there early. So I said to him, Mel, look, we could do this movie. I've got this great idea. It's called One Take Only. Start at noon, and that your first shot doesn't have to be until, 1 or something. And then they get one take only. He goes, what if they sneeze? I go, that's their take.
I like it.
That's their take. I said, come on, we can do it. Or we could have party till late at night, because he stays up late. So, I'm definitely trying to get him to do it. But right now, with the success of, or resurgence, I guess, of Young Frankenstein and Blazing Saddles, he told me that he was going out on the road again with Blazing Saddles, and they're going to do Q&As and stuff like that with him. So he's busier than busy, but I'm still nudging. Come on, Mel. You've got to do another film.
Well, you keep up that persistence, and I'm sure you...
He'll give in. He'll just give in. I'll go, all right, Elaine, just stop bugging me.
Well, Elaine, will you stay with us
Absolutely.
For a Q&A at the end?
Absolutely.
Everyone, Elaine.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Can I just give one quick shout out to all my friends who came from Facebook? I relentlessly bugged all of them. And the producers and directors, Dwayne, who's been a fixture here, and I did his show, The Black Larry David, and a wonderful, talented writer, director, Right over there. Raise your hand. Sandy Boykin.
Oh, hi, Sandy.
So I want to say thank you all for coming out.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Wait. Whoop. Here, we'll do that.